The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome, everybody, on this Thursday night where, well, we're going to hand out some awards, okay? At least one, anyway. For Wife of the Year for 2024, all right? We're a little late on this one. It goes to Dr. Jill Biden. What a spouse. What a person. A fake doctor who thought that her husband was having a stroke during that June debate of 2024, Georgia Tech University. Literally now, because she has a book to sell, I guess the provocative hook to buy the book is to say that, oh, that night I thought my husband was having a stroke during the debate. And then afterwards, literally took him to Waffle House. I think that's the last place you want to bring somebody if you think they're having a stroke or may have some, issues in that regard. Waffle House. Yeah. And then she led a chant of 4 more years, knowing that her husband clearly mentally was gone, physically not doing well. But boy, she really, really wanted to be in that White House. Really, really loved being First Lady. So screw the husband. As long as we could keep him upright for another 4.5 years, I get to be the fake doctor posing as the First Lady and having my fun at all these state dinners and so on. Anyway, here is Jill Biden to CBS News today. And this is something that, again, I don't know how as a wife you possibly could have pushed your husband forward and said he has to stay in the race. She and Hunter, more than anybody, wanted him to stay in power for as long as possible, only for their own needs and not for that of actually Joe Biden, who I guess is a victim here to a certain extent. Cut number 7, go.
Were you horrified as you saw it unfold?
I wasn't horrified. I was frightened because I had never, ever seen Joe like that.
That's BS.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Before or since? Never.
Or since?
Yes. Or
You've
since.
Yes.
never seen him like
Never.
that?
No.
Totally. Oh.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the...
Oh, no, you didn't.
And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
That's a sick person right there. And oh, by the way, lying through her teeth. Oh, that was a one-time thing. June 27, 2024, Atlanta. Not before then and not after did I witness anything that would lead me to believe that this person is going through cognitive decline. I could give you 1,000 examples of seeing this going all the way back to 2019. This is a guy who shook hands with the air when he was done with speeches. This is a guy who literally said that he had conversations with world leaders who have been dead, not for a couple of months, for decades. This is a guy who couldn't remember the names of his own cabinet members. This is a guy who spent every weekend, long weekends, starting on Thursday afternoons, coming back Monday afternoons in Delaware, at his beach house, at his other mansion in Delaware. We never saw the visitors logs. The guy was there more than 40% of his presidency. Obviously, because he was not up for the job. He wasn't up for being a golf starter, a greeter at Walmart, let alone the president of the United States. And she's saying this was a one-time thing. Never saw it before, never saw it afterwards. Give me a break. Anybody who buys this book, you are an absolute friggin' idiot. It comes out next week. If I see that on a bestseller list, what do you want to know? You want to listen to a liar like Dr. Jill Biden, who is a fake doctor, by the way. I happen to be married to a real doctor. She's an ER doctor, graduated Georgetown, worked at Englewood Hospital in New Jersey for many, many years, working overnights, which I've worked overnights. Kevin, my producer, we just talked about, works overnights. It is the worst thing you could possibly do as a human being. Believe me, your body's never right. You never get the right amount of sleep that you want. You don't eat the right way. You don't exercise the right way. It's a tough job. And oh, by the way, in the case of being an ER doctor, literally at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're exhausted, maybe you have to deliver that baby. Maybe you have to get a bullet out of somebody. Maybe you got to go dig into somebody's guts. That's a doctor, not whatever Dr. Jill Biden is, where she's not a doctor. It's a title. Again, what a phony. Holy moly. And that is how we start off the show. Thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it here on Concha at Night. Oh, boy. Let's go to James Talerico because, again, our media is just so stupid. There's no other word that comes to mind. If I got to read one more analysis that James Talerico, who's running for Senate in Texas, has a really great chance of winning there, well, I don't know. Go back and read all the stories about Beto O'Rourke when he ran for Senate in Texas against Ted Cruz and didn't come close to winning. When he ran for governor and didn't come close to winning. When he ran for president and didn't come close to winning. All right? Liberals in Texas, especially weird ones, will not get elected any way, shape, or form. And now Talerico, since he's in the general, is actually being interviewed by national outlets. And I got to give Ed O'Keefe of CBS News some real credit here. Because he actually, now look, it's not the hostile way that Republicans are interviewed, but he did ask the question, which is, hey, you said that God is non-binary. What did you mean by that? And Talerico gives one of the worst answers you could possibly imagine. Now, he's already on the defensive. And if you are this early on in a general, you're not going to recover from that, especially in a state that Donald Trump won by double digits. And he backs Ken Paxton, the Republican at this point. And if you think that suddenly 13-point victories by Trump are going to be erased by this freak, well, you got another thing coming. Here's cut number 1. Go.
You said God is non-binary. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think I was being intentionally provocative with that statement. But what it means is that God can't be defined by human categories. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, says that in Christ there is neither male nor female.
Oh, he was being intentionally provocative? What does that mean? You were saying something you knew was BS, and you threw it out there anyway for what, a soundbite? Oh, boy. Meanwhile, the Paxton people are really gearing up their ads already, and there's so much to work with here. Oh, there is a lot of stuff to work with here as far as the thing that this guy has said. And one particular thing that stands out is the whole thing where he says there's not one, not two, but 6 genders that exist. Anyway, here is this brutal Talerico ad. Ken Paxton, his group, put this out. And I don't see how this guy wins. I don't see how he recovers. There's no counterpunch for this because it's his own words. Cut number 2, go.
Move over, Davy Crockett. There's a new Texas trailblazer in town, and their name is James Talerico, the man who bragged, our office is the first in the history of Texas to add pronouns to our official business cards.
I am running around like a crazy person today,
spreading his white skin wherever he goes.
I am not a perfect Christian.
Prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity, and it's a painful process.
Bearing the cross of white skin and unambiguous masculinity.
I was a big nerd in high school. I never played sports. I probably shouldn't out myself like this. Sex is a spectrum, and oftentimes it can be very ambiguous.
God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
Straight from Revelations in the woke James Bible.
I want us all to be aware of that. There are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's brutal. You don't recover from something like that. I'm sorry. Those are his words. Oh, by the way, you say you're not that masculine. You never played sports in Texas. Are you kidding me? Watch Friday Night Lights, the movie with Billy Bob Thornton sometime. Trust me, it's a religion there. You can say, well, that's only Republicans. All right, fine. You don't eat meat. That's a problem. You're saying that We should have open borders. Ooh, that's a real big problem. And God is non-binary and there's 6 genders? Oh, boy. This is a gift wrap. People think, oh, boy, Paxton's the nominee. This really opens the door for Democrats. Talerico is gift wrapped, and he will lose. Let's say he's going to lose by 13 points the way Trump won over Kamala, but he's going to lose, and it won't even be close. And meanwhile, by the way, the only word that comes to mind, stupid media that keeps pushing this guy as something revolutionary, a different kind of candidate. Well, let's do a flashback, shall we? I found this from ABC News saying that Beto O'Rourke, when he came onto the scene, he was going to beat Ted Cruz for that Senate seat because he's a rock star. Cut number 3, go.
You can't go 10 feet without an interruption from a Beto backer.
So much. I love you too. Thank you all.
You're a rock star.
No, there's just so many great people who are.
You can't go anywhere without getting.
Hey guys.
O'Rourke, a 3-term congressman from El Paso, has certainly captured the entire nation's attention as well.
Oh, that's great. That's just great. Yeah, he really has captured the entire nation as well. And then when he ran for president, he lasted 3 months, I think. Again, this is what the media does. They find somebody young, somewhat attractive, and they think, okay, he's the next John F. Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Beto O'Rourke is no Jack Kennedy. All right, I didn't know John F. Kennedy. He was, unfortunately assassinated well before I was born, but that's the old line from Lloyd Benson against Dan Quayle in 1988. Meanwhile, before we go to break, let's stay with Talerico, shall we? Because here he is talking about how we must end, again, this is Texas, meat consumption because climate change is going to kill us all. He's AOC, basically, with a little more weight. Cut number 13, go.
We have, I think, heard more and more issues of animal welfare. I think not just because it's the right thing to do and the moral thing to do, but also it's, as all of you know, necessary to fight climate change. It is now existential that we try to reduce our meat consumption and that we try to respect animals in all aspects of society. And so I am proud to say that our campaign has officially become a non-meat campaign. So we are only buying vegan products from our local vegan businesses. Some of you may know Big Nona's. They were little Nona's, and then they opened up brick and mortar, so another Big Nona's. But we just got our pizza from there today. What? And so the point is that I think all of us, not just policymakers, but everyone has to take personal responsibility in this effort.
Existential threat, climate change. The UN put out a report this week saying that all the worst case scenarios that they threw out in the past ain't going to happen. Okay. So I'd love to see how the guy who says we must end meat consumption in a state like Texas is going to win. This is pretty easy stuff, guys. I'm not some genius that's telling you, pearls of wisdom here. This is just common sense and logic that says that James Talerico cannot win in the state of Texas. Meanwhile, when we come back, Jean Carroll. Oh, she's under investigation for perjury. And I'll tell you why that, she's screwed. Because, boy, do we have ample evidence that happened. And that utterly ridiculous lawsuit, civil, against Donald Trump, saying that she was sexually assaulted in a department store more than 3 decades ago, when she can't remember the year it happened, mind you, is going to go south in a big hurry. I am Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. So, ABC News has a new report out on Trump and Epstein. And while you would think this is something like, well, there's smoke, there's fire, and Donald Trump did know Jeffrey Epstein, there are photos of them together. Well, this report, kudos for once to Disney on this one, exonerates Trump in every way, shape, and form. And again, I've said this 1,000 times on this show. I've said it on Fox. If there was some smoking gun that shows that Donald Trump engaged in nefarious activities with Jeffrey Epstein, it would have been leaked by now by Obama or by Biden or by Hillary or by whomever, and it's never happened because it does not exist. This report underscores exactly what I've been saying. Cut number 12, go.
Coming to light claims in the mid-2000s, President Trump called police about Jeffrey Epstein. Among the 3 million Epstein files released by the Department of Justice last month is a 4-page FBI report on an interview the Bureau conducted in 2019 with the man believed to be former Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Ryder. Ryder and his detectives began investigating Epstein for human trafficking in 2004. According to the document, Trump called Ryder around that time and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Ryder also says Trump said he threw Epstein out of his club, and he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and Trump got the hell out of there. The former police chief says Trump told him to focus on Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, saying she is evil.
Did you have any suspicions that he was molesting young women, underage women?
I had no idea.
Trump has long denied having any knowledge of Epstein's crimes, but Ryder says Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein.
Yeah. I mean, if he threw the guy out of his club, probably a good sign that he knew that Epstein was bad news. Maybe he didn't know the exact details around that, because how could he, unless he was there? But in other words, smells like a rat, kind of get rid of the rat kind of thing. And that's what Trump did in that case. So again, we just got to let this go already, for the love of God, please. Oh, man. Meanwhile, before we go to break, I'm a little confused on this one. Tucker Carlson, who, again, I was on Tucker's show a lot. I like Tucker. It seems like a very pleasant guy. I didn't really get to meet him, per se. I once or twice in a studio, but mostly he was in one place like Maine, Washington, Florida. I was in New York or my home studio. So even though we were on screen, we weren't together, if that makes sense. But anyway, now Tucker's saying that we probably should all stop paying our credit card bills. I don't know what's happened to this person. I just don't. But anyway, I'll just throw this out here. Cut number 23, go.
Yeah, I used to feel that way. Now I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think people should stop paying their credit cards. I know no one else agrees with me. And, you have a moral obligation. Really? Well, you have a moral obligation not to send credit card applications to kids in college. So this goes both ways. It's like just blaming the drug addict and never mentioning the dealer. Someone's selling the fentanyl, and that person is on the hook too. So that's how I feel. So, like, is it a sin to rip off your drug dealer? I guess. It's not one I'm going to judge you for.
See, that's not a very good analogy. I'm sorry. That's like Memdani or Hassan Piker when he said that, well, it's okay if we just shoplift from corporations because they deserve it. So credit cards deserve it because they send applications to college kids? You're borrowing money. They're a bank. You have to pay it back. If you don't pay credit card bills, well, that will ruin your credit. I don't understand this argument. I'm trying to logically look at this, and I cannot do it. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So, yeah, I want to talk about this E. Jean Carroll story I just filed for the Washington Examiner about this freak. All right, I'll use the word freak, this woman. The things that she has said and done over the years, and then accusing President Trump of sexual assault. Let's go through the timeline, shall we? Let's see. She says that in 1994, Trump assaulted her at a department store. I'm sorry. Then she said, no, maybe actually it's 1995 when he assaulted me at a department store. No, actually, I think it was 1996. In other words, if something traumatic happens to you, you kind of remember the year. I'm not asking for the date and the time, or even the month, but the friggin' year, and she can't do that. And then she actually, in 2019, all right, when she finally lands on 1996, I suppose, decides just a couple of days before her book tour that she is actually going to file a suit against President Trump, which eventually comes to fruition in 2022, just 3 days after he announces he's running for president, of course. So, again, here is the question, all right? From her own attorney during this trial. When do you believe Donald Trump assaulted you? She answers, the question, the when, the date has been something I've constantly trying to pin down. If you're sexually assaulted, again, something horrific happens to you, you know the year, I would think. And that should have been the moment that this case was thrown out. But of course, it's New York City. And of course, it's Deep Blue. So of course, the case goes on. The show, in this case, goes on. I mean, and here's what Trump's attorney said at the time. She can't tell you the date that she claims to have been raped. She can't tell you the month that she claims to have been raped. She can't tell you the season. She can't even tell you the year that she claims to have been raped by Donald Trump. That was Trump's defense attorney there. So a couple of questions. If this happened, as she said it did, eventually, I guess she landed on 1996, why didn't you go to the police and file a report? That's what anybody would do in that situation. Didn't do it. All right. Another question. Why didn't you say anything about it from 1996 to 2019? That is 23 years and not one peep. She was a writer for, I believe, Elle magazine, right? She had a show on TV. Not one sentence to anybody, a friend, nothing. Huh. That's interesting. And then Trump ran for president in 2016. So, boy, this happened to you and you realize that this guy may win the presidency. Maybe you come forward then. Nope, didn't happen then either. So that's the Manhattan court system. And oh, by the way, the statute of limitations should have ended on this decades ago. But, well, somehow the prosecution was able to skirt that too, because Kathy Hochul signed some sort of, emergency law to allow this case to go forward. Again, this is completely and totally weaponized. But let's go back to then what, after this thing goes to trial, what E. Jean Carroll told Anderson Cooper on CNN. And this, what you're about to hear, was not allowed to be played to the jury in the courtroom because the judge is corrupt. There is no other way to put it, because how do you not allow this to be into evidence? Again, I'll let this speak for itself, and you tell me how this makes E. Jean Carroll look remotely credible. Cut number 15, go.
Don't feel like a victim.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished. The word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Oh boy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Did you hear the panic, DEFCON 1 in Anderson Cooper's voice? We got to go to break. Did you just say that rape is sexy? Oh, yeah, that could be a problem in a courtroom, except the judge, Lewis Kaplan, did not allow that interview to be played to the jury. That's all you need to know. Actually, that's not all you need to know. Here is E. Jean Carroll with the useless idiot that is Tim Miller over at the Bulwark, talking about how she rehired her old makeup people from 1996 to make her look more effable in order to trick the jury. Again, she says this out loud. She said this out loud. Oh, all right. Anyway, cut number 14, go.
I got to be hotter to win this case?
Yeah, I got to be f***able is the word. So what we did is we looked, I had a talk show, a TV talk show in 1996. I went through that, some of the shows, took screenshots of my hair cut in a bob, and we did then I found the hairdresser and the makeup person who made me look like that in 1996. She came every day to trial, did my hair and makeup exactly like it was in 1996. I wore the exact same clothes I wore in 1996, the exact clothes.
Yeah, they're back. It's back in trend.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have a book here, but the thing I'm wearing on the cover, I bought it at Bergdorf's in 1993. So
Wow.
that's the kind of, and I didn't look like I looked in 96, but I looked like somebody who could have looked like somebody in 96. And it was enough. It was enough.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It was a trick. I wanted to look like I did in 96. That's unbelievable. But this is the worst. And again, this gives away the whole ball game. The night after the guilty verdict against Trump came down, where he was ordered to pay $83 million to E. Jean Carroll. Again, no evidence. There's no cameras. There's no witnesses. There's no corroboration in any way, shape, or form. There's no dress like there was with Bill Clinton preserved for any sort of evidence. Just she said it happened more than 3 decades ago. Couldn't remember the year it happened. Trump denies the whole thing, denies even meeting her ever. And that was good enough for this ridiculous Manhattan jury who just wanted to stick it to Trump. So then she goes on Rachel Maddow's show on MSNBC. And this is the end zone dance to end all end zone dances. And you tell me if you have ever heard a victim of sexual assault go on national television and brag about how she's going to spend the money in the most ridiculous and elaborate ways. This is everything right here. This is cut number 24. Go.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be, what that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? It's yours, Rachel. Penthouse and France? You want France? You want to go fishing in France? No? Oh, all right, okay.
That's a joke.
Unbelievable. That's good.
Although
That's good, Carlos. Holy moly. She admits on national television, Rachel, you want to go to Paris? You want a penthouse? You want to go fishing? I'm going to take Trump's money and just spread it out all over the place. When Maddow asked a question like, what are you going to do for, I don't know, sexual, she didn't say it, of course, because she's a hack. But what are you going to do for women's groups? And she's like, no, actually, I'm going to, whatever you want to do. We're going to go to Paris. We're going to do all these great things. No victim of sexual assault would ever say that on the air. Or even privately, for that matter. If this thing was so traumatic, there is no way in hell that you would be celebrating like that unless the whole thing is complete and total bull. And that's what this was. And that's what's sickening. And then real victims of sexual assault are hurt by this more than you could ever know. People with actual evidence, with actual corroboration, witnesses, text messages, whatever. It doesn't matter. I can't even with this person anymore. And now she is being investigated for perjury. Good. Because she said during her deposition that her suit against Trump was not being financed by any outside sources in any way, shape, or form. Oops. Except $7 million from a Silicon Valley Democrat mega donor activist Reid Hoffman went right towards E. Jean Carroll and this suit. He's a billionaire. He backed it because he wanted to take down Trump. George Conway, that waste of space, who's running for Congress in the 12th district, he's going to get blown out. Thank God. Karma convinced her to bring forward this suit. Then Reid Hoffman was there with the money. And she said under oath that she was not getting any money from anybody. Uh-oh. There's a $7 million trail. It says she did. And then she says, after confronted with this, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I always forget when somebody gives me $7 million. Oh, yeah, I got $7 million. It just slipped my mind. And we're supposed to believe that she remembers the sexual assault from 30 years ago when she doesn't remember getting $7 million for a lawsuit. This is such a farce. And I know you're saying, oh, Joe, boy, you're a little more animated than usual. Yeah, well, that's the way that goes. Anyway, here's cut number 16. Reid Hoffman literally admitting that he funded the E. Jean Carroll lawsuits that she said under oath that weren't being funded by anybody. This is game, set, match. Cut number 16, go.
So providing that support was something that I felt very happy to do. The speaking truth to power and having a woman have her voice, having a chance to be heard and not squashed through the legal courts because she didn't have the money to fully pursue it, I thought was a good thing for society.
Oh, a good thing for society. Making up assault claims to take out a guy running for president. And the funny thing is, Trump still won. Reid Hoffman's out $7 million. And E. Jean Carroll hopefully will go to jail for perjuring herself. Hopefully all those things happen. Because that's justice. I'm not rooting for a side, per se. I'm just saying, like, again, we need common sense back, people. And to weaponize a justice system like this is a whole bowl of wrong. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. We wrap this puppy up on Concha at Night in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. So the Knicks are heading to the NBA Finals. We'll see who exactly they face, either the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs. Either way, both teams are better than the Knicks. Sorry. I know I'm on a New York station here on WABC, and I'm supposed to rah-rah and yay, but look, I know what I see. And I see, I don't know, you beat the Hawks in 6. The Hawks were literally down 52 points in Game 6 at home. They gave up completely. Sixers, same thing. What was that margin at one point? Down 40, Philly, in Philly, and then Cleveland. Show a little pride. Game 4, blown out of the building by 40. I don't know. I think the Knicks have faced a 5, a 6, and a 7 seed in the watered-down East, and they're going to have to play a real team from the West. I'm not trying to, like, step all over all the euphoria around the Knicks, but I'm just trying to manage your expectations, and I'm telling you, you haven't faced a real team yet in the playoffs. Sorry, just haven't. Or at least a team with some guts, some integrity. That's all I'm saying. Could they win? Yeah, they'll win. In 7, if they win. Otherwise, if I were a betting man, you go with Oklahoma City, you go with San Antonio. I don't care who it is, especially San Antonio. Oh, but the Knicks won the NBA Cup back in December against San Antonio. Yeah, that wasn't real. All right, let's not go nuts over that. But hopefully they win. I mean, they haven't won a championship since 1973. The New York Knicks have not, and their fans are very loyal and obnoxious on some level, and certainly entitled, but I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying this. Anyway, President Trump is going to attend an NBA Finals game in New York, I would imagine, when the Knicks play. And look, he's been going to games before he was a politician for many, many years, sitting courtside, especially during the 90s, during the so-called heyday when they almost won some championships. Anyway, here's cut number 20 on that report. Go.
Has invited him to the NBA Finals.
They have some great players. I think I'll be going to one of the games. I was invited by numerous people and Jim, and I think I'll be going. It's great to see it.
So after Trump shared his plans, New York Governor Kathy Hochul questioned his interest in the Knicks, but the plan backfired, Bill.
I asked him to name the starting lineup from 1993 championship team and see how he does.
Unfortunately for Hochul, there is no 1993 Knicks championship team. The Knicks' last title was in 1973.
Precisely.
Donald Trump Jr. reacted to the
all right, Carlos,
dunk
that's
attempt
good.
by Hochul.
We could get out. The 93 team, good team. They're up to nothing on Michael Jordan in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then it's 2-2. It's game 5. They're down 1. They have a chance to win the game, and Charles Smith of the Knicks gets his layup blocked something like 8 times by Michael Jordan. I'm exaggerating. I think it was 4 overall. They don't win that game. They lose game 6. They didn't win in 93. Hochul tries to slam dunk on Trump, and literally gets the ball stuffed back in her face, so to speak. The Knicks didn't win that year. They went to the finals the following year when Jordan wasn't in the league, lost in 7 to the Rockets, went back in 99 without Ewing. He was injured at that point, and lost in 5 to the Spurs. So we're talking, let's see, 99 plus 20, 27 years since they've been to the finals, and 53 years since they've won a championship. So this could feel very much like the Rangers when they won in 1994 after a 54-year drought. So we'll see. But again, you're not going to be facing the Cavs or the Sixers or the, who else was in there at that point? The Hawks at this point. You're going to face a real team. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Michael Kay lost his mind, by the way, over being called a liberal. And you want to talk about somebody who I do not understand the success of Michael Kay in any way, shape, or form. I don't. He is not a good play-by-play caller. And we're talking many, many years of doing this. That ridiculous to the track, to the wall, looking up, see ya. Oh, God. It's like no one quotes this. Not one Yankee fan quotes Michael Kay in terms of that call. And just every call is the same. Everything's repetitive. When the Yankees are either being blown out or winning a game, or more likely winning a game big, like the conversation just isn't very compelling. He's not very likable. And yet here, he's a voice of the Yankees, and he has an afternoon drive show on ESPN radio. And it's like, I don't understand why this person continues to get contracts. I'm sorry. It's just very, very average to the point of subpar. And it's the New York Yankees. Can we get a real voice in here besides, see ya? Oh, God, it's a dumb call. I'm sorry. Here he is losing his mind after being called a liberal. Oh, yeah, by the way, he's condescending and insufferable. Cut number 22, go.
You guys are liberal. I get it. Don't you dare say that. Now you don't get a chance to make a second point. You have no idea my political leanings. None. You have absolutely no idea. Hang up on him, Anthony. Because when you're going to be small like that, don't tell me I'm a liberal. You have no idea what I am. None. I have never told you what I was. Right. So take a walk, because I don't agree with you. You don't get a second point.
Oh.
That's an easy thing. That's what this country is, by the way. If somebody thinks you're on the other side, you can't be heard. I was letting this guy talk. He's making no points.
So I cut him off and made sure that he couldn't make a point. Yeah, that's a great argument there, Mike. Maybe debate him for a little bit. That's just funny on so many levels. Meanwhile, just to wrap up the Jackson Dart controversy, that wasn't a controversy unless you're on the left and aggrieved by the fact that a guy from Ole Miss that was born in Utah supports Donald Trump and was asked to introduce him at a rally, and he did. Somehow that was a big, big no-no. Boomer Esiason, all right, fellow Terp, good for you, Boomer, on the Giants private meeting that apparently happened today, where everybody worked everything out privately because that's what men do. So this thing, I guess, is done. Cut number 18, Boomer on this, go.
And it shouldn't be, and I'm glad they all sat down, spoke about it, and said, keep it internal, boys. Do not put it on social media, because that is my issue.
Yes.
My 100% issue with Abdul Carter is he put it out there on social media.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And now these guys are handling it like men inside the locker room. They all have a common goal. That's to win as many football games as they could or can. And this is why I was asking you, aren't all these guys together right now? How come we haven't heard anything?
Well, you just heard some.
So now we heard it. So they talked it out. And it's going to, I bet you in the long run, believe it or not, in the long run, if they win,
yeah,
it will bring them closer together.
No, well, exactly right. We're going to forget about whatever happened in May if the Giants are winning in September, and that remains to be seen given the makeup of the team outside of the quarterback and they got a couple of good players. But again, this is not a Super Bowl team right now. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're back tomorrow. Again, Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time on WABC and on stations around the country. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye-bye.